They say you should be careful how you treat people, because the person sweeping your compound today might own it tomorrow. This is the story of Becky, a wealthy, proud woman, and Bright, the man she thought was just her gateman, but was hiding a billion-dollar secret. Welcome to the Billionaire Gateman, Part 1. Let the drama begin. The hot Lagos sun blazed down on the tall, black gates of Becky's mansion. Her compound was the kind you saw in glossy magazines, white marble walls, trimmed lawns, and a fountain in the middle. Inside, the sound of heels echoed across the tiled floors as Becky, a 32-year-old businesswoman with a taste for expensive things, scrolled through her phone. Outside, a young man in a simple brown shirt, faded jeans, and black sneakers stood, wiping sweat from his forehead. His name was Bright, but to anyone looking at him, he was just a gateman looking for a job. Becky's personal assistant, Anita, peeked at him through the glass door. "Madam, the new gateman is here." Becky didn't look up. Bring him in. Let's see what the wind has blown my way this time." A few minutes later, Bright stepped inside. He was tall, too tall for a gateman, with sharp features and eyes that seemed to study everything without fear. He smiled politely. "Good afternoon, Ma." Becky glanced at him briefly, then went back to her phone. "You're the new gateman?" "Yes, Ma." You look too fresh for this job. Are you sure you're not here to steal?" Bright's smile didn't fade. "I'm here to work, Ma." Becky's eyes narrowed. "We'll see about that. Rules are simple. You don't speak unless spoken to. You don't enter the main house. And you definitely don't touch my cars. Understood?" "Yes, Ma." She waved her hand dismissively. "Go to the gate. Anita will show you where to sleep." As Bright turned to leave, Becky's friend Lola walked in, eyeing him up and down. "Babe, where did you get this fine gateman from? He looks like one of those Nollywood actors." Becky scoffed. "A beg? He's just a broke village boy looking for a salary. Let's go." They both laughed as Bright walked away, but behind his calm face, something else was brewing. That night, after everyone was asleep, Bright stepped outside to the dark corner of the compound, pulled out a sleek, expensive phone, and made a call. "Yes, I'm in position," he said in a deep, commanding voice, very different from the polite tone he used earlier. "No one suspects a thing." A black SUV pulled up across the street, headlights off, watching the mansion. Bright's first morning on the job began before dawn. He swept the compound, polished the gates, and stood guard like any ordinary gateman, but inside his head he was quietly calculating and watching. By 9 a.m., Becky was dressed to kill, a gold bodycon dress, diamond earrings that sparkled under the sun, and heels that could buy someone's rent for a year. She strutted toward her Range Rover, her phone pressed to her ear. "Anita!" she called out without looking. "Why is this useless boy just standing there like a statue?" "Bright, open the gate." Bright hurried forward and swung the heavy gates open. Her friends arrived minutes later in flashy cars, their laughter filling the air. One of them, Said, eyed Bright mischievously. "Becky, this your gateman fine-o. Where did you find him?" Becky rolled her eyes. "A beg leave matter. The boy is broke, can't even afford shoe polish. See his sneakers, cheap China knockoff." Her friends burst into laughter. Bright smiled faintly, keeping his gaze down. In his mind, he had already bought 3 mansions more expensive than hers, but she would never guess. Later that evening, Becky threw a mini pool party. She instructed Bright to stand at the gate all night, no matter what. By 10 p.m., the music thumped from inside, and Bright heard giggles, clinking glasses, and the splash of water. But then he heard something else, movement by the side fence. A shadow slipped over the wall, then another. Bright straightened. "Who's there?" 2 masked men jumped down, holding knives. Bright's eyes hardened. Without hesitation, he tackled one to the ground, knocking the knife away, then turned and landed a hard kick on the other. Inside, Becky's guests screamed as one of the intruders broke free and ran toward the pool area. Bright chased him, but as he reached the entrance, Becky stood there, her eyes wide, "Bright, what?" She didn't finish because the masked man grabbed her from behind, pressing the knife to her neck. The man growled, "One more step, and she dies." Bright froze, his mind racing. The man's grip tightened around Becky's neck. Guests screamed, some diving into the pool for cover, others bolting inside. The other intruder, the one Bright had knocked out, was slowly getting up, clutching his head. Bright knew he had seconds. "Relax," Bright said, his voice calm, his eyes locked on the attacker. "We can talk about this." The man laughed bitterly. "Talk? I just want her money." Becky whimpered, her diamond earrings trembling in the light. Then, in one fluid motion, Bright stepped forward, slammed his foot into a nearby chair, and sent it flying toward the man's legs. The attacker stumbled, loosening his grip. Becky fell forward, and Bright caught her before she hit the ground. Without pausing, Bright punched the man in the jaw, knocking him flat. The other intruder, realizing things had turned, scrambled over the wall and vanished into the night. The party guests stared in shock. Becky pulled away from Bright's arms immediately. You think you're some action hero? What if you had gotten me killed?" Bright blinked. "Ma, Enough! Go back to your gate, and next time just call the police instead of playing macho." She turned and walked back into the house, leaving him standing in the dark. Later, Bright returned to his small room by the gate. He sat on the bed, reached for his phone, and typed a message. "They're moving too soon. Increase security around the mansion. I'll handle the rest." In another part of Lagos, a man in a luxury penthouse read Bright's message, smiled, and said, "Operation is going as planned." 3 days later, Becky hosted a business dinner at her house. The who's who of Lagos society attended: politicians, CEOs, celebrities. Becky wore a silk emerald gown, her hair in a perfect bun. Bright stood outside at the gate, as usual, but his eyes kept drifting to the windows where he could see the glittering dining hall. Halfway through the evening, Bright spotted a suspicious-looking man lurking near the back entrance. He quietly moved closer and listened. "We'll make the transfer tonight. She won't even know what hit her," the man whispered into his phone. Bright's jaw tightened. He recognized the voice. It belonged to Kunle, Becky's business partner. Bright needed to warn her, but that would mean breaking her rule of not entering the house. For a moment he hesitated, then walked straight to the front door. Anita nearly dropped her tray when she saw him. "Bright, what are you doing here? Madam will kill you." "Where is she?" Bright demanded. Before Anita could answer, Becky appeared, holding a glass of wine. "What is the meaning of this? Why are you inside my house?" Bright lowered his voice. "I need to talk to you, privately. Now." Becky's face hardened. "Are you insane? You're a gateman. You don't talk to me in that tone." Bright's eyes flicked toward Kunle, who was watching them from across the room. Kunle slipped his hand into his pocket, pulling out something metallic. Bright's calm eyes hide more than just patience. They hide a storm. But will Becky survive it? Watch part 2 to find out what happens when secrets start to leak, and danger knocks at the gate. Don't forget to subscribe and comment your thoughts.